In this video, we're going to discuss several topics, from creating roll tables, to creating skills, to creating items, and finally, creating actors. So as you can see, we are still in Foundry Virtual Tabletop, but we have moved up one number. We're up to 0.7.8. We're using 0.4.6 Call of Cthulhu 7th edition system created by Veterini. And this time, we're going to have one active module. So the module that we're going to use is Easy Table by Blitz. This is a wonderful module that allows a user to create tables very, very simply. All you have to do is copy the information from a PDF, move it to, say, something like Notepad, move the formatting around ever so slightly to line up the numerical field with all the text that you would like to enter, and you can make a quick roll table that way. So let's take a look. So when you come here, you can create a table, or you can create a folder to place tables in. But with the module, you'll see a new button down at the bottom called New Easy Table. You just click on that, and from there, you're going to paste in your information. So we're just going to paste in the personal description from the Call of Cthulhu rulebook. So we will name our table Personal Description. We will generate the table, and then simple as that, you now have personal description, 36 options. You can click on the table, click roll, open up the chat field, and there's the output. Strapping. Well, that makes sense. David Amundsen's a very large and strong man. We can go over to his backstory that we didn't fill out the last time when we created the character, and we can put strapping in. That's a great personal description for him. Now, if you're using the official rules, you would choose which one you wanted, but I like to use random numbers. I like to go with generation, random generation, because Percentilex, he favors those who use things like that. All right, so let's go on and create one more table. All right, so we're going to create the ideology and beliefs table from the rulebook. Again, you just copy and paste that information in. You can type here ideology beliefs. You generate your table. There's the table. We can click this table. There are all of our fields. We roll it. We go over to chat, find out what our output is. Money. Money is power, and I'm going to get all I can. Well, he chose the wrong career field as a park ranger to be enterprising, but we will just say that he is a rather greedy individual. Just leave it at that. But I just wanted to kind of show you a few examples of roll tables. There are a lot of videos out there about roll tables, and I encourage you to check them out. But I just wanted to show you how you could use it with the Call of Cthulhu system and Blitz's Easy Table module. Okay, so let's move on to creating skills. So let's just say that a player has a skill that isn't readily available in the rule book, or you're playing in a different timeline like Cthulhu Dark Ages, and you require a skill like alchemy, for instance. Well, you can create that under the items button. The items directory, you just go to create item. When you choose that item, you will choose skill, and you will type in that skill. We're going to create a skill with a specialization, so these are a little awkward. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So David here is a park ranger in New Hampshire, and he knows a lot about the Native American tribes from that area, and they all speak a common dialect known as Abenaki. So Abenaki is going to be the specialization that David is interested in. So specialization, but the type of skill that would really be would be folklore. And this could be a skill that would be pushed based on the rules. And you can see that it has changed here to now folklore Abenaki. And he has 0 skill in it, we'll say. We'll just go with close. And now we have Abenaki over here, but when we drag it onto his skills, we can go to folklore, and there's Abenaki. So he has some folklore knowledge about the Abenaki. So he knows some of the stories that the Abenaki tell. Whether those stories are fact or myth, that's up to the player or the keeper to decide. But he knows the traditional stories of the Abenaki people because he has an interest in it. Let's say that you would like to edit that skill and give him some points in it without going through the development phase. Let's just say that he's worked in that region for several years and he's picked up some local information. The keeper says, I think I'll give him 10 points of local lore in the Abenaki. That's all we have to do is go to unlock the actor and update the information there. If you come over here to the development phase, you can see the development tab has popped open, folklore, Abenaki, and 10 points of experience have been assigned to that particular skill. So creating skills, rather easy. Let's just create one more that's not a specialty skill. We'll go with alchemy. Just say pushed. Done. There's alchemy. Now there's no reason that David Amundsen would have alchemy, but I was just giving you an example. Another thing you'd probably want to do here is create a new folder called skills, and you could place those in there. All right, now let's move on to creating something that people are always interested in, weapons. Now, we're not going to list any specific weapon types because I don't want to get in trouble with Chaosium, so we will just say revolver. We'll create a new item, a new weapon called revolver here. The main skill for it would be handgun. It would be a ranged weapon with a minimum range of, say, 15 yards. Not minimum, but base range of 15 yards. Damage type would be 1 D10 plus 2. And it would be an impaling weapon. And you can see that Veterini has several options here for different weapons. Even the availability, 1920s, modern, and I'm sure it would be in Pulp Cthulhu and others, but we won't worry about all those. We'll say the malfunction for this revolver is a 100. It's a revolver, so it holds 6 shots. At the time, it would cost $50 in the 20s to purchase it, and in modern currency, that would be about $750, we'll say. I don't really know right offhand, but okay, so rounds use. We'll say 1 up to 3. So max usage around would be 3. Then we could go over here to description. You could type in whatever you wanted to here, discussing the revolver, 6-shot revolver. You could give it more detail if you wanted, but there you have it. There's a revolver. And then all you have to do is take that revolver that you've created and just drag it over here onto the character sheet. You'll notice that it auto-filled in the handgun skill. That's because when I created that item, I typed in handgun as the skill. You'll also notice over to the right, there's a reload button. So as of now, the gun has no bullets, but if you hit the reload button, it will reload to the maximum number of bullets. So let's create a shotgun as another example. So we will make a double-barreled shotgun. And this time I'm not going to put the skill in just to show you the difference. Okay, it will also be ranged, but it's a shotgun. And in Call of Cthulhu, of course, shotguns operate a little bit differently. Because this is just a random little weapon that we're creating here, we'll just stick in some numbers. With the shotgun, you're going to have a close range, a medium range, a long range, and the damage will change over time if you're using buckshot, which is what we're entering here. We'll also mark dual barrel for this firearm. Available in the 20s, modern. Of course, you can put other times. Malfunction of 100, magazine of 2, rounds of use 1, 2, max uses a round would be 2 from the 2 barrels, and I have no idea again on the price, so we'll just roughly say it's $750, which isn't right. We'll go maybe $650. I don't know, but anyway, there you have it. So there's the shotgun now, the double-barreled shotgun. So now we've created a double-barrel shotgun, and when I drag it over to the weapon, no skill was indicated because I didn't type in rifle/shotgun. How do I fix that? Go to Unlock Actor, and here you can edit the weapon, but there's also a drop-down, and you can choose the skill to associate with that particular weapon. It's an elegant system that Veterini has created. You can also edit any other features with any other weapons from this field. Just be aware that it's only editing the weapon for this particular character. It will not change the information over on your items. If you want to change an item, then you have to change it here and then move it to the character sheet, and it will be the same for all characters when it comes from here. If you change something here, it only affects that particular weapon. Now, let's just take a real quick look at the examples of these weapons. So this revolver, okay, it's loaded. It tells us we have 6 bullets. We fired 0. We can fire up to 3 shots. Now, we don't have a target selected, so it just lists a dummy target. And again, Veterini is a genius. He has automated this fantastically. You can choose single shot, multi-shot. If you choose that, it tells you will have a penalty die. If you have an advantage, like the target is prone, restrained, disadvantage for you being prone or restrained. If you aim, base range, long range, extreme range, undercover, surprise, point blank, normal size, and you can change the size there just by clicking on it. In melee, fast if the target's moving quickly. So you can choose a multi-shot, and it automatically gives you the penalty. You would, have a penalty for firing more than once in a round. Let's say you fire 3 shots, shoot, and there you go. It rolls for you, and he missed all 3 shots. Poor David. Let's go ahead and reload that weapon, reload the shotgun, and let's give him a moment to shine with the double-barreled shotgun. So, in this instance, we will say that he is firing a single shot. He rolls the dice, and he gets an extreme success. Wow. We can actually click on this, and it will show what was rolled. He rolled a 0 on the 10s die and a 5. And then we can roll damage. Now, why is it 24 points of damage? Because it did maximum damage because of an extreme success. Now, because shotguns do not impale, it didn't do as much damage, but you can see it didn't even roll the damage dice. It gave the maximum of 24. If I had a target and I clicked inflict pain, it would automatically assign the damage to that target. Good shot, David. Let's let David fire a second shot because he has 2 barrels. Oh, and he missed. Well, that's not helpful at all. for my demonstration purposes. Let's give him another shot. All right, another extreme success. Come on, David. Let's fire one more. A hard success. Okay, this is better for us. Again, 34 shows the die. You can increase the success by spending luck. There's your luck. You can spend 19 points of luck to make it an extreme success. Or you can choose to roll damage. Click roll damage. Tells you how much damage. Can inflict pain if there was a target. This is a beautiful, elegant system that works extremely well for combat. Makes it very easy to keep track of what's happening, what actions are available, what penalties to assign, what bonuses to assign. It's fantastic. I cannot recommend this system enough and all the work that Veterini has put into it. Okay, moving on. Let's take a look at creating a spell. All right, so another item. We'll go with spell this time. All right, so we'll make this spell from, say, the 1700s. Bringeth forth the deceased. Of course, you would probably just use something from the rule book. Source, homebrew, casting time. We'll say 1 hour. Casting cost. That will be over here under the details. Okay, so description. Animate an undead servant. Simple enough. We'll go to details. What is this? I don't know. Maybe we're not technically summoning anything, but we'll go with that. All right. We're going to summon the dead back to life. Something to animate the dead. So what are the magic points cost for this? We'll say it's a pretty costly spell. It's going to cost 10 magic points to bring forth the dead. Of course, it's a terrible thing to do, so you'll lose 10 sanity points. And automatically, there's the cost right there. You can add additional notes here about the spell. Must be cast under a full moon. But there you go. There's your spell. Bring forth the deceased. Okay. Real simple. Homebrew, 1 hour, 10 magic points, 10 sanity. It animates an undead servant. Now, of course, David would have no reason to have this spell, but if you click on Gear and Cash, you can see that your spending level, cash, and assets have all been generated because of your credit rating level. But over here you have your items, your books, and your spells. You could just bring forth the deceased over here and drop it in, and there it is. Now he would have the spell, and you can click on it, and it gives a description of what the spell is. Oh, it doesn't animate and undead servant, but an undead servant. So that would be something that would be important to correct before your players saw it, because it looks embarrassing, makes you look ignorant. So we've now created a spell, and now let's create a book, a tome. So our tome here, this will be the Journal of Ezekiel Morrow. All right, so to make it simple, this will be English, date 1700s, author, self-explanatory, but we'll go with Ezekiel Morrow here. Description, a diary of a mad man. Ozzy would appreciate that. Details, this is a Mythos tome. You will lose 1d4 sanity for reading it. We're going to use the d4 because the d4 is often forgotten. People forget the d4, but we'll we'll include it. We don't want the D4 to get angry with us. Study time, we'll say it takes about a month, 4 weeks to study this tome. What is the mythos rating on it? It's not extremely mythos oriented. We'll give it a 9. What do you get? We'll get +1 initial reading. At the final reading, an additional 2. And what spell is located within it? How about bring forth the deceased? So now it even has a spell located within the tome. And again, you could take this tome, say it's discovered by David, you can drag it over, drop it on his character sheet. There's the journal. It's a diary of a madman. He learns the spell from it. We could add the spell. Quite simple. Quite simple. Now, let's create a creature and then an NPC. You can do it here by going to, we need to go to actors. You can go to create actor. You can go to NPC or creature. You can also go to the compendium where there are some examples. So you could take this creature example and import it. And you could take this villain example and import it. Or you could just create your own. But let's import these examples and just modify them. Now, Veterini has given instructions here on how to modify the creature example. If you click the lock, this will allow the modification of the sheet. So if you click this, it allows you to interact with it and change things. You can create new skills like this. You can create new existing skills from the compendium by just dragging them over. So creature example, maybe the creature can spot hidden. Okay, maybe the creature can fight. It already has that. If it doesn't need the new skill, we don't worry about slicing PCs into small cubes. But spot hidden, fighting, 2 very useful skills to have for a creature. Up here, you've got a few options with values. You can enter in the values. If you plan on creating something that you would like to randomize, you could go to values here, and you can see there are formulas. There are formulas that can be entered to change things. So what we are going to do here is this is going to be our dead that has been brought forth. Well, we'll just call them the dead. How about that? The dead. That's not very original, but we'll go with it. And the dead are quite strong because they are animated by mythos forces. They have quite the constitution because, again, animated by mythos forces. Have to do a little math here with brackets and whatnot. It's hard for me to remember these things. Their dexterity, they're not very dexterous, so we'll leave it with the base of what he did. Well, actually, we'll make it 66. So they can have a 6 dex up to a 36 dex. They're going to have no appearance. They're going to have no intelligence, no education, but they will have power in case they have to resist spells that the PCs might have access to. So those are the formulas. Hopefully those will work. Okay, so if we turn the formula off, if we roll the characteristics, it rolls those formulas. You can see the low dex there. The con, the strength are a little bit higher because of the formula that was entered. And it will automatically generate the statistics. You can modify them. Let's say that, hey, they're dead. They shouldn't have a movement of 8. You can change that. You just click the gear, change it. Set their hit points. They really wouldn't have magic points, but we'll put them there anyway. Okay, to see the undead, you're going to have some sand loss. 1 if you succeed, 1d6 if you fail. Armor, sure. We'll give them 3 points of armor. We won't make them immune to impale or anything like that. And down here, we could change our notes to whatever we wanted our notes to be as far as the dead were concerned. Animated corpse. We can assign their attacks to the skill of fighting. 10d6 seems kind of extreme for the damage. Maybe we'll tone that down to 1d4 plus their damage bonus. That's their deadly claws that they have. Okay, not too complicated to create a creature, as you can see. And finally, let's create an NPC. Not a villain per se, but maybe our own villain that we have created. We will name him Robert Ovitz. Okay, so here's our NPC here, Robert Ovitz. Robert is not particularly strong. He does have some constitution. He's not particularly large. He is quite dexterous. Not very attractive. Is quite bright. Has a great deal of power and some education. You can see these fields already filled out for us. As far as skills, all we would do, go to the compendium, select skills that we think a sorcerer might have, and drop them in here. Quite easy, quite simple. Can even do the same with spells. So if he happened to know this spell, we can drop it here. Now an inventory has been created, and there it is. There is the spell that he knows. So he can use this spell to summon the undead. So I hope this has been useful. I hope this has answered some questions. Feel free to comment below if you have any other questions or would like to see videos about any particular topics if you have questions about. And the next video I will do will be on combat. So we'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching. Keep on rolling. Take care.